And good morning at 7:04 on this Monday, January 30th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Yes, a Monday morning. Monday has rolled around again, and if you just look at that calendar, you see how fast January is getting away from us. Today is the 30th, of course, tomorrow the last day, and Don Hamlet is here. We're going to talk about Absolute Kubota. Don, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good weekend?
Awesome.
Yep.
Yep.
We were talking a little football here before we went on the air, but one good game yesterday, I will say. Really good game.
Yeah, quarterback got hurt in the first one, kind of messed it up a little bit.
Well, you entertain people and help people get to know more about Kubota and all the other things that you sell at Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main here in Lebanon. You're number one in sales, right?
I don't know about number one. Me and Caleb both are in sales there. I consider us 50-50. I think we're a good team. He's a good young man. I know he doesn't come and do the radio very often, but if anybody wants to come by and meet him, he'll probably be the first fellow you meet when you walk in the door.
Caleb Hieronymus.
Hieronymus, yes, that is correct.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Man, I just want everybody to know we appreciate everybody's business so much. We started off the year good. We've got a lot full of equipment right now, which probably hasn't happened since maybe middle 2020. I was talking last week. I had a young man come in. He heard me and you talking on the radio about the RTVs. And, we do have a couple of 2 or 3 RTVs in stock. We've got a 520, a couple of 1140s, RTV 1120s. Those are model numbers. You come in, we can get you fixed up. We do have anything from our subcompact tractors all the way up through the utility tractors. We've got some M5s, big 90, 100 horse tractors, cab tractors in stock, ready to go. We've got cutters to go along with all these different tractors, box blades. We've got some post hole diggers, pallet forks, all the different implements it takes to keep an operation going and make the individual's life easier.
Now what's that implement you say if you have it, you'll never use a wheelbarrow again?
That's the bucket. That's the loader on a tractor. If you've got a loader on the tractor, you'll never, ever need a wheelbarrow ever again. And I don't know anybody that's ever used a wheelbarrow that would be sad about that fact that you could do that. It's just makes your life so much easier. It's getting close. Like you said, it's almost February. It's getting real close to being a lawnmower season. We've already had a lot of people take us up on the offers that we've had going. We've had some good discounts, some early bird specials, you might want to call them. People coming in, getting services done early, trying to beat the mad rush of April when everybody starts cutting grass. So we've still got those going on for a couple of more days here. If you want to call our service department or maybe our parts department, if you like to do your own stuff. I was talking to Tim at church yesterday, and he said he was going to swing by and go ahead and get the things he needs to do the services on his lawnmower. I think he said he was getting a 20% discount on his part, so that's pretty good. And but if you don't want to do it yourself, you can always call Clint. He's be the fellow that you will get to speak with whenever you call and talk with our service department. He will set you up a schedule. Those guys over there last year, they really started doing that instead of you just, bringing your equipment in during the really busy season, and it may sit there for a few days. You can call Clint, and he'll kind of give you a window of about when you could bring your unit in. And maybe just a day or two, then we can get the services done and get it flipped around and get it right back to you real quick.
Well, what you're talking about here really makes a lot of sense for both sides here. For you, you're not as busy now. You can take good care of people, go ahead and get it done. And for them, they're going to do it now and save some money and then have it done when it's time to go to work.
I mean, there's going to be nothing better for the people that already had it done. They're going to have a smile on their face whenever, they look out and their grass is growing and it's spring. We're all looking forward to that for sure. I know Saturday kind of ruined me a little bit. When you can just go out, crank up your lawnmower, cut your grass, pull it back in the shed or the garage, and you're done, instead of thinking, man, I need to get my oil changed. I got to have my blade sharpened. I should have done this back when I heard Don and Coleman talking about it on the radio, And, you're kind of kicking yourself. Come on in, get it done now, and, beat the rush.
It really goes for nearly all of your equipment, though.
It does everything.
Kind of maintenance that needs to be done or repair either.
Tractors, whatever it is you might have, your trimmers, your backpack blowers. We sell Red Max two-stroke equipment there, so we've got all that on the shelves ready to go. Nobody likes to weed eat, but we've got them. If you need to take care of that, blow your driveways off, we've got all those things sitting there ready to go. I always like to remind everybody on all the Kubota and Land Pride equipment, the mowers, we for sure have 0 down, 0% interest going. No need to no need to write a check if you don't have to. You can just, if you want to, you can. There are some discounts that are available. But if you don't want to do that, you can certainly finance it for 0% interest. That's a good deal.
Yes, it is. And of course, most people, I think, are going to the zero-turn mowers.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't have one of them, you should, really.
And let me say this, too. If you don't have one and you don't have the confidence in using it, please come in and see me. We have people come in all the time like, man, I don't know, Don, that thing, it's a little bit squirrely. It's a little bit wild. But I'm telling you, once you ever get on it, I always describe it to everybody. It's just like when you're driving on your vehicle and you've got your wife in the car and you're leaning over and you're talking to her and you're staying between the yellow and the white and you're driving down the road. You will get used to a zero-turn lawnmower, and when you get proficient at it, you will never be able to get back on a lawn tractor again.
Why did I wait this long?
Right, right. It's so easy to use, and it's so much quicker too. Yeah. People always say, "Well, I won't go as fast as that thing will go." Yeah, you will. You'll want to get done. You want it to look good, and they will cut grass as fast as they go, and your yard will look great, and you'll be finished quicker, and then you can go do whatever else you want to do that day.
Well, it's just a wonderful invention, and doing the corners, it's just so much easier.
Oh, it is. It's just so much easier because you're just barely moving your arms, and you're not on the older lawnmowers. Back when me and you learned, you had to shift it in the gears down between your legs, and now you're just forward and reverse is just so effortless. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I hope we've convinced a few people this morning, if they've been wondering, that hey, don't wonder anymore. Go try it.
Come on in. We'll be glad to get you out on one and let you play on it for a few minutes. No big deal.
All right. Everything from weed eaters to hay balers, you're going to find at Absolute Kubota. Of course, that's where Don Hamlet hangs out Monday through Friday.
Come see us. And starting this Saturday, we will be open on Saturdays from 8 a.m. till noon. So that starts in the month of February, so we can take care of everyone's needs then. Come see us. We'll get you fixed up.
Will we see you next Monday?
You will.
All right. Well, have a good one. We'll talk about it more then.
All right.
Don Hamlet, Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon. They are your Kubota dealer right here in Lebanon, Tennessee. We're approaching 12 minutes after the hour, and State Representative Clark Boyd is right here with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. I was listening as I was coming in this morning, and Don makes such a great point. If you have a front-end loader, you will never use a wheelbarrow again, because we use our tractor almost for that purpose probably 50% of the time now.
So you're one who can talk from experience.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, how's it been with you? It's been 2 weeks since we've seen you. The governor's been inaugurated in that time, and is this? Just tell us what you've done the last 2 weeks.
Well, so the last 2 weeks we were in pretty much recess. We did come back for the weekend to inaugurate the governor. I do serve on finance, so I have to go in on days when the General Assembly is not normally there. But we haven't had a lot of action yet. The bill filing deadline is tomorrow, and so we have to get those all submitted. I've got about 8 of my 15 submitted, and my list filled up pretty quickly. And so I've got a few things I can tell you about that I'm running this year, but it's going to be a pretty exciting year. And I always hate the last couple of days before bill filing deadline, because people come out of the woodwork wanting you to sponsor bills. And usually if it's this late and no one else will take it, it's a terrible idea. And you're trying to be polite, oh, I'm full, I can't take it. And so when people come, into your office late on Tuesday, the last day, oh, I'm not here. Tell them I'm not here.
Well, what are some of the bills that you're very interested in and will be presenting?
Yeah, so one of the things, I don't know if you realize this, but there has been a tremendous uptick in the theft of catalytic converters. and it is it's in a lot of cases it's organized crime. There's actually some folks from Eastern Europe, some families in the Southeast that do this, and they will sometimes pull into a church parking lot and hit every vehicle there. Sometimes they'll go to car dealerships or just parking lots at work, and they're stealing these catalytic converters, and they get them for the precious metals that are inside of them. And so when the price of those metals goes up, the theft of catalytic converters goes up. And so the last couple of years in Tennessee, people have worked on various pieces of legislation and trying to figure out how do we stop this. And in the past, there has been a movement to really regulate the scrap metal industry, requiring them to notify law enforcement in their area that they are a scrap dealer. They have to have a license. If someone brings them a catalytic converter, they have to have a receipt for it. They have to have a driver's license. They have to know where it came from. And it just didn't do anything. The theft percentage just kept going up. And so last year, some folks came to me and asked me to put together a task force. And so I brought in the Department of Safety, the TBI, the district attorneys, the Department of Commerce and Insurance, just every stakeholder group that would have an interest in this. And I had to learn a little bit about it because it's not really my wheelhouse. And we talked about it, and they, the scrap dealers said, we could help with bait cars, we could put together sting operations. But at the end of the day, if it's just a misdemeanor, I mean, you don't typically put together big sting operations to catch somebody, doing a misdemeanor. And so I said, does it need to be a felony? And everybody said, yes, it needs to be a felony. And I mean, it was unanimous. And I said, okay, well, that's a easy fix. And so, I went and told the speaker who had sort of said, put this, task force together and said, we're going to make it a Class E felony. And I mentioned that to Jason Lawson. He thought that was fair. I mentioned it to various judges that I knew, and they all agreed something needed to be done, and that was a fair sentence. And so that would give you up to 1 to 6 years in prison for theft of one. So rather than continuing to regulate the scrap metal industry, we're basically saying if you steal these things and get caught, it's not a fine anymore. I mean, you're probably going to jail for it. And so we think that's a good solution.
Well, I'll say amen to that. That's terrible. That's really terrible. Going and steal somebody's, it costs them a lot of money. Maybe the insurance covers it, but the inconvenience, got to replace all that. And it's there for a purpose.
I mean, it could cost a person, $1,500, $2,000 to replace, and the guy that steals it might get $200 in cash for it, and it's sad.
I don't care if you lock them up and throw away the key, but
yeah.
Anyway, State Representative Clark Boyd is with us, and we'll take a break here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:17. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota. Premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 449-6171. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Debris in the area where it's already slow. 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. It's increasing in that traffic out of Dixon County on I-40 as you come past 840. Pretty slow now. 24 westbound through Antioch up through the Hickory Hollow area. Behind it, you got all that traffic pushing in right now from Rutherford County. Nash Painting is Middle Tennessee's #1 residential and commercial painters. Check them out online at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Exmark builds mowers that deliver a perfect cut in less time. Because we believe what you get out of your lawn, not your mower, is what matters most.
Find signature cut quality, comfort, and reliability. Exmark's Laser Z is the zero-turn more landscape pros trust. Find attractive financing and the Exmark that's right for you at Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon.
Exmark, official mowers of the backyard life.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. State Representative Clark Boyd is with us. Just talking about the Kansas City, Cincinnati Bengals game. This is my opinion, that if the penalty that occurred right before they had moved the ball up 15 yards and kicked the field goal, if that hadn't occurred, I honestly believe we'd have gone into overtime.
Yeah,
that would have been even more exciting, I guess. But that was really an exciting game. Both teams were ahead at one time in the game, and. Okay, well, back to the state legislature. You think you'll have any trouble? Will there be much even a lot of discussion about making this the theft of catalytic converters from a misdemeanor to a felony?
I don't think so at all. I think it'll be an easy thing to pass. It's just a matter of will it get funded, because there's going to be a fiscal note to the state for the incarceration of people. Although I don't know that this is going to cost the state a ton of money. When they do the math, though, when the Fiscal Review Committee puts together a price tag on each bill, sometimes for the members it seems excessive. We get mad. We go, oh, there's no way it'll cost that much money, because sometimes it prevents you from passing the bill because you have to find the money to match it. But I think leadership is interested in this bill, and so I think they'll find the money for this one. I think it'll become law.
Well, I really hope it would be a deterrent.
Yeah.
If I know I get caught and I'm going to spend some time in jail, I might think twice.
That's right, and I've got another bill I'll tell you about in a minute where we're ramping up the charges on. But at a minimum, whether someone ever gets arrested for it or not, if it scares people from committing the crime, that's what we want to see happen.
Okay, let's go to the next.
We're having a meeting today with TDOT for them to explain to us the choice lanes that they have been talking about. And as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, probably a month ago, the TDOT commissioner came and he visited with me in my office. And I told him, look, I'm not interested in a gas tax increase. And he said, I'm not either. I said, well, good. And I said, I have heard rumblings of toll roads, and I would not be interested in toll roads either. And he said, well, good, we're not either. And he didn't mention anything about this choice lanes, but then not long after that, it came out that that's what was being considered. And on something like this, I'm pretty much at the kind of the will of my district, what they want. And most people have made it very clear, we don't want a tax increase. We don't want toll roads. But the idea of choice lanes is interesting, and people seem to be a little bit more open to that idea, where a private company comes in at no cost to the taxpayer. A private company comes in and they build, let's say, a fifth lane. You have 4 lanes and they build a fifth one. And you simply, if you want to use that lane, you get an app on your car and you can pay a couple of dollars to get over in it and drive. And in a lot of places, other states that have done it, they kind of guarantee that they'll limit the number of cars so that you can at least go 55 miles an hour on there. And so the devil's in the details. Yep. I don't have all the details. This is not me announcing that I'm in support of this. It's letting you know that we do have a meeting with TDOT today to discuss this. And what I'm hearing from my supporters here in the 46th District is that they don't like toll roads, but this is something that they might be interested in if it doesn't cost them anything and it takes some pressure off of the road. So we'll find out more about that.
Okay, well, we'll be interested to get more of the details, to say the least. I think it's not, I don't think it's just going to sail through. I think there's enough opposition that there'll be a lot of discussion on this, whichever way.
That's right. And then the other thing, I mentioned this before, but when the idea of electric vehicles first floated years ago, they didn't know how to tax them. And so it's obvious now that they're not being taxed at the same rate that people that drive gas vehicles are. They pay $100 a year. On average, gasoline automobile drivers pay $300. And so everyone that I have talked to is fine. I'm sure if you that half of 1% that drives an EV, you'd probably rather not pay it. But the other 99.5% of Tennesseans are okay with that. And they think it's fair. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And so they want to get that up so it's a level playing field with folks that drive gas vehicles.
You anticipate some legislation being passed
I believe that will be a part of the bigger transportation bill.
A flat fee.
$300, I believe. I mean, they're still working that out, but I think that's what everybody seems to have settled on.
How would you pay that? Just like maybe when you renew your the license tag?
That's right. That's when you would pay it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's being discussed. I saw Senator Pody out in the lobby. We are actually co-sponsor, or he's the Senate sponsor. I'm the House sponsor of a bill called the Eddie Conrad Act to increase the points for offenders and repeat offenders of texting and driving violation. And so, Eddie was killed in a terrible automobile accident a couple of years ago, and this would give some strength to the current bill that prohibits texting and driving. And so it would. There's we've just written it now. It may change a little bit, but it would essentially increase the number of points that go against your driving record for that offense. And so,
How flagrantly is that being, the law being violated, or that, how frequently is that being, are there some that just continue to do that all the time?
it's not enforced like it should be.
Okay.
And so, this will hopefully discourage it. And it's a lot of young drivers. I mean, I've said at red lights before. And as I read the law, because I was when we were putting this together, I was reading what the current law is. I think if you're sitting still, you can look at your phone. You just can't. You don't need to be when you're driving. But it's amazing to me. People will get so into their phone that they'll sit there at a green light, and you have to honk at them to get them to go. And then they get mad because you honked at them. But I do see this a lot, especially on the interstate driving into Nashville. There'll be people sometimes that'll look like they're getting off at an off-ramp, except there's no off-ramp. They're just crossing lanes of traffic, and you just have to back and honk at them to get them to snap back up and look ahead at where they're going. It's amazing how much of a distraction this phone can be.
Well, really, if I were doing that, I'd probably be in the ditch in 30 seconds. Because, but they are probably pretty good at it. But it's still such a dangerous thing, and it's scary to think about, really.
It is, and so we hope this makes an impact. That the Conrad family has made it clear that they want to make a difference and make sure that doesn't happen to someone else. And Senator Pody and I committed to joining them in that effort. And so that's what essentially this legislation aims to do.
Okay, you meet this afternoon?
I've got to go in at 1 o'clock for finance, and then I've got a couple of meetings, and then we have our 3 o'clock meeting with TDOT. It's the House Republican Caucus. We're going to be meeting with them in the old Supreme Court chamber in the Capitol and letting them kind of make the pitch to the entire group.
Okay, well, when will you be back with all 99 reps?
At 5 o'clock.
Okay, so that's this afternoon.
Yeah, we get back to it this week. I've got my committee is open tomorrow. We're going to have a brief organizational meeting for the new committee members, and then we're immediately going in. We don't have any bills on notice, but we're going to have the electrical co-ops and the municipal electrical utility associations give a presentation, and then next week we're having TVA come to my committee. And so I don't anticipate a lot of tough questions for the co-ops and the munis. I know a lot of people have questions about the rolling blackouts, but they were simply doing what they were told by TVA. They buy their electricity from TVA, and they're regulated by TVA. But they're going to give a presentation today. But next week, there's going to be some questions of TVA, no doubt.
I know that over the years, you have different groups who will make their appearance, and probably the same ones every year come. There used to be a certain time that the broadcasters would always meet with the legislative people, and I've attended that a few times in the past. But that's good. You get to hear what's on their mind, and then sometimes maybe it's more of a social thing, but still there's some business that comes because of these get-togethers.
There is. Now, this is not actually a get-together. I've asked them to come testify before the committee. So this was at my request, not theirs.
Okay.
So, but yeah, there are a lot of groups that come down there to visit with us, and you learn a lot about issues that are important to them. I've got several things. We'll probably run out of time before I get to them, but recently you probably heard in the news that at the federal level, the Consumer Product Safety Commission of the federal government was considering banning gas ranges, stovetops. And so a couple of years ago, this didn't get a lot of attention, which is fine with me. I'm the guy that will, if I can do something quietly and it not make the news, then I'm totally fine with that. But in the West Coast, we started seeing local governments banning gas, anything. New developments couldn't have it. You couldn't use it to heat your home. You couldn't use it for electrical generation. And so recognizing that what happens on the West Coast usually makes it here, a couple of years ago, I passed a bill, and some people called it the ban or an all fuels bill. And what it did is it preempted state or local government in Tennessee from banning any sort of fuel source that you might use for heating your home or electrical generation. And it was pretty easy to pass. I mean, there were some people that said, "What does this do?" And I'd explained it, and everybody in Tennessee was fine with it. And we were really just getting ahead of the curve. Well, I'm going in and amending that bill to put some language in there to protect, to say that Tennesseans have a right to cook with whatever fuel type they want, or to heat their water, or to, things like that, to just sort of preempt that. Now, I understand that may not fight if the federal government, it would result in a court case, I'm sure. But what we're doing is just telling local governments or any political subdivision in Tennessee that Tennesseans have a right to use whatever fuel source they want to cook with.
I'm totally ignorant about this. Was that done in environmental concerns, supposedly?
It was safety concerns. It was, and so again, this is not in reaction to what the federal government did. That kind of brought some attention to it, some awareness, and people started asking questions. And we recognized that around the country, particularly on the West Coast and more liberal states, local governments are banning them. They're saying, "Hey, no more gas stoves, no more gas hot water heaters, no more." And so I'm simply saying, in Tennessee, we will not do that.
Okay.
And so this preempts that.
We're just about out of time. If you got one more quickly here.
Let's see. What do I want to talk about? I've got a piece of legislation, and another thing that we saw on the West Coast, and we've seen some. Usually, it's eco-terrorists out on the West Coast, and we saw it recently in North Carolina, where someone attacks the electrical grid. They literally go to a substation and bring it down. And so we realized that the penalty for that, although it's never happened in Tennessee, praise the Lord, we hope it doesn't. But we've got to raise that penalties. It was a Class C misdemeanor. I'm sorry, Class C felony. We're raising it to a Class C felony, which could be 3 to 15 years. If you attack critical infrastructure in the state of Tennessee, as long as it costs more than $1,000 in damage, it could be a Class C felony. We want to make sure that someone doesn't bring down the electrical grid, as a form of terrorism, basically.
Thanks for being with us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Coleman, it was great seeing you today.
State Representative Clark Boyd, that's part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more, so keep it here, FM 98.9.
And to 7:31, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, that regular oil change, $34.95. Up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, $16.73. West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. I'm looking at a crash, possibly with injuries. 24 westbound at Walden Road. That's slowing down that traffic that's very heavy coming out of Rutherford County. Again, I-24 westbound at Walden Road. Moving a wreck over here, 65 south at Trinity Lane. Hey, Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. They're online right now. Check them out today at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hello, Phoenix baseball fans. This is senior outfielder Sancho Farmer from Barstown, Kentucky, inviting you to follow the Phoenix on the air and online this season. You can hear all of our games on either WANT FM 98.9 or WCOR AM 1490 or online at WANTFM.com or GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Our first games are Friday, February 3rd at 2:30 and Saturday, February 4th at 11 a.m. We hope to see you soon. Go Phoenix.
We could see a few stray showers out there this morning, but the rest of the day is looking dry and partly sunny. Look for high 50 degrees with temperatures dropping off overnight to 34 degrees. Now, more rain could be here for Tuesday, so allow extra time on the roads. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
We welcome you to part two of Coleman and Company here on a Monday morning. Billy Mullinax joins us. Billy Mullinax. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, Coleman.
Billy is the general manager for Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet. How's it going?
Going really good, Coleman. Going good. Having a great January.
As I mentioned when I started the program this morning, you look at the calendar. Today is January the 30th. January has flown by in my mind.
Yes, it has.
But it seems like every month is so
Every
short
month
anymore.
does. Yeah.
All right. You still have your automotive month. When does it end?
It ends tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
With
the end of the month. Yeah.
All right. Well, you usually tell us that your trade-in's worth a little bit more at the end of the
At
month.
the end of the month.
Still true?
That's very true.
Yeah.
Still true.
Yeah. And any way you can kind of enhance the figures for January, here today and tomorrow. You're kind of willing to do it.
You want to make them look as good as you can make them look, Coleman.
Well, what's the latest? I mean, we always talk about 600 Pleasant Grove Road, Mount Juliet being on the easy side of Mount Juliet, over there next to Walmart, Academy Sports, and you've got a wonderful place there, really.
Yes, so it's beautiful. Not really, I don't know of another dealership that's as pretty as it is around, and certainly not any more of the 3,000-gallon saltwater aquarium in the showroom.
We
I
love
do
to
know
talk
that.
about that. You're
Yes.
right. And it is it's something that stands out, and little children especially love,
Yeah.
but grown-ups do too.
That's
You've
right.
got- it's amazing the different creatures that God made, and especially when it comes to the ocean and the different kinds of fish and sea creatures. And
Yep.
some of them are almost laughable that
Yeah.
you look at.
Well, and even us, Coleman.
I wasn't going to go that far. Okay, but
God has a sense of humor.
and I think what you see in your aquarium would even prove that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Coleman, new cars, we are, as we've talked about recently, new car inventory is picking up just a little bit. We've got about 75 new in stock right now, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when we at times just a few months ago had 15 to 18, that's quite a bit. So it's easing up just a little as far as having a hard time finding new vehicles. So if somebody's interested in a new one, now would be a good time as they are getting to be a little more plentiful.
Yeah. Well, you still have attractive terms, rates. I don't know what all Chrysler does, but they certainly help you to help people have a new one.
Well, sure.
Incentives.
And incentives and financing.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody knows rates have gone up a little bit, in the last year. They're not where they once were, but, the banks that we use certainly are very competitive, and we're able to get some great financing rates for people.
Well, that helps too. That helps a lot.
Yeah, and we've got a great selection of pre-owned Coleman. We've got about 150 pre-owned vehicles right now. So, if we don't have the new one that you're looking for, chances are we've got a slightly used one that would fit the bill.
Well, we want to remind everybody that you can see the entire inventory of new and pre-owned cars at MountJulietCDJR.com.
Might even see your neighbor there, Coleman.
See your neighbor there. Well, you did with the ownership change, change your website, and a lot of people do go there to see your inventory.
Yes.
And you haven't changed the way you do that. I mean, you can just go to MountJulietCDJR.com, see all of those, and
the
unless
prices.
you want to leave
And
your name,
that's right.
you won't even know. You just know somebody clicked on it.
We just know somebody was there, Coleman. That's all.
Well, what else you got to tell us this morning?
Well, just we do have a great service department. We try to mention that every week. Will Daly and his team that he's put together do a great job of after the sale, and even if you didn't buy it from us, bring your vehicle in for service. We'll be glad to take care of it.
Well, you can you got to do maintenance, and you can, as they say, pay me now or pay me later.
That's exactly right, Coleman.
And the
You
longer
got to take care of them.
Yeah, oil change at certain intervals, necessary thing.
Well, that's right. And there's a lot of things, Coleman, and our service advisors can certainly advise you. When you come in for the maintenance, they can tell you what the recommended maintenance is for your vehicle for the particular mileage that you're at.
What about tires and batteries? Do you do a lot of that?
We do. We keep a good selection of tires in stock, and if we don't have them, typically we can have them by the next day. But a lot of times we'll have the more common size ones in stock, and batteries we keep a great selection also.
All right, you're still open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., the sales department.
That's right.
Your regular hours for those in the service department.
That's exactly
They
right.
go home at 5, don't they?
They'll 6.
6. Oh, okay.
6.
All right. Well, got a lot going for you there, and you're still enjoying being the general manager.
Yes, I am, Coleman.
And
We're just
still,
going
I
to keep
hope
taking care of people.
Still enjoying coming here on Monday morning.
Absolutely. That's
All
right.
Well, we'll see you next Monday.
All right. Thanks, Coleman.
All right. Billy Mullinax, he's the general manager for Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 600 Pleasant Grove Road, right there in Mount Juliet. We are 21 minutes before 8 o'clock. And on this Monday, I want to welcome Ed Kelly with Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. Ed is with us in studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you. And we are going to be talking some about plumbing and leak detection, probably talking about some other things this morning because you brought a special guest with you this morning.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Coleman. What a day to be alive. And it's a Monday.
Senator Mark Bodie, if you don't already know, that's the way he comes on just about each Friday during the legislative session. It's nice to see you today.
Yes.
Have a good weekend?
We did. And I'm not going to be talking about anything legislatively today. You know, Clark did a good job in giving a rundown of what's happening there. But I'm with Ed, and we got a few things to be going over that Ed's got in the works and such. And I got to tell you, he's actually doing some of the plumbing in my buildings right now. So I'm very appreciative of all the hard work that he does.
All right. Well, Ed is known as the singing plumber, and there's a reason for that. You even brought your guitar this morning, didn't you? I see it sitting over there.
I sure did. And I got me some new hats and some new shirts for Ed Kelly Music. So that'll be on the edkellymusic.com website probably in the next couple of days.
Well, I see you do say on your shirt there, the singing plumber Ed Kelly. And the new album out now, A Part of Me Died.
Yeah.
That's the name of it?
Yeah. And I actually brought you a shirt and a hat, Coleman.
Well, thank you very much. Now, you have to. I mean, you're plumbing in the daytime. That's your day job, as we say, which you're going to keep at least for the foreseeable future. But you do like to sing and play that guitar, and you're making the rounds doing that as well, right?
Yeah, you know, music has always been a natural talent of mine. I got into songwriting in my teenage years, and you know, I've always just loved to sing and write music, and I don't consider myself to be a great musician, but I'm good enough to play a tune, you know, or two.
I've just been wondering if when you finish a plumbing job, if you took your guitar along and you could go up to the owner after you settle things and the job is done. We hope you're happy.
You know, that seems funny, but it's not really practical because you know, you're sweating and you're grinding through the problem. And you know, that sounds funny. It would be good for TV.
Well, yeah, you might make a commercial along that line, but to say the least, you are getting a little mileage out of calling yourself the singing plumber.
Well, I'm not sure if a lot of people know me as a singing plumber yet, but it is. I think very shortly everybody's going to know Ed Kelly, the singing plumber, because like we just got these hats and shirts made. It was a pretty big process, so people are going to be seeing those around town pretty soon. And
well, Ed, I got to tell you, people that listen to Want Radio hear your commercials a lot as well. In fact, we were just talking to somebody in the lobby that said, "I heard that commercial." So,
well, at least they will identify that now when they see that cap that says Ed Kelly, the singing plumber. They see your T-shirt there, the same thing, the singing plumber Ed Kelly, whichever way you want to say it.
Yes, and so, but I got to tell you. You know, I know that we're going to be going for a break for just a second. Did I hear there's a birthday in this building today? that there is a young man that's sitting over there, and he's actually a really, really smart guy, because when I talked to Billy, he studies the news. He's really, really good. So I came in and I said, Billy, happy birthday today.
Oh, yeah, I knew his birthday was in January. That's about all I can remember. He gets a year older every January, just like I do.
Yes. But I did want to shout out to Billy on happy birthday. But I want to give you a tease before we go in, before we go to the break. We're every single year, Ed has helped me put on an event here in Wilson County. And we got a new one coming up, and it's going to be September 30th. We wanted to tell you about it, so it was kind of like save the date of what Ed's going to be coming to help us do.
Yeah. Okay, you want to wait till after we come back?
Yes, I'm going to wait to tell you what it is as soon as we get back.
That's a teaser, as we call it.
That's it.
Well, you want to say anything before we go to the break, Ed?
We're going to play. We are going to play one of my songs, "Several Tears Left to Cry." So stay tuned.
Several tears left to cry.
Left to cry.
That sounds like a good one. Let's take a break right here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:43. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota, premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 449-6171. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. They've moved that wreck to the side on 24 westbound at Walden Road, but the damage is done. It's crawling now through Laverne and Smyrna over here on 24 westbound as you continue towards Nashville. As people stare at that earlier wreck, that one slowed it down also up there on 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Snapdragon Hemp, serving up lab-tested top-shelf hemp products across Tennessee, the entire nation actually. Edibles, flowers, concentrates. Order online, SnapdragonHemp420.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway, across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Coleman and Company here on a Monday morning. We do have Ed Kelly, Mountfield Plumbing and Leak Detection. He's a singing plumber, and Senator Mark Pody here to carry on as well. Now, what are we going to do next?
Well, I think Mark's going to make his announcement, and then right after that, we're going to play "Several Tears Left to Cry."
Okay, and MJ's all ready to play that for us, right? All right, Senator.
All right, so every year we try and have something that we rent out the fairgrounds for, and we rented it out for September 30th this year, and we're kind of asking people, it's a Saturday, kind of hold the date, and we're bringing somebody from Wall Builders coming in. They're coming in from Texas. He was here before. His name's David Barton, and Ed Kelly and Music City Plumbing has been a big supporter and sponsor of these events. But when we have David Barton come in with Wall Builders, he's going to be talking a little bit about the separation of church and state. He's going to be talking about the very first Bible that we've ever had, and some of those are being printed right now. I mean, this is literally the very first Bible in America. When we were actually separating and had the Revolutionary War, we used to get all of our Bibles from Britain. We can't, and they shut them down. They said we couldn't have Bibles from Britain anymore, and we didn't have any printing presses in America. So it was literally a Bible shortage in America. So once the Congress got in and they were talking about where can we get Bibles, how can we do it, one of the guys named Atkin actually started a printing press, and he said, I'm going to start printing Bibles, and the Congress actually endorsed it, didn't pay for it or anything like that, but they said, yes, we think that's a great idea to do it. And we've actually passed a lot of those Bibles out to each of the schools in Wilson County, and Ed Kelly has actually helped pay for those Bibles to be printed for the county.
So what's the difference in it and maybe one you'd pick up in a bookstore?
So this is one that Congress actually said, yes, that we would actually endorse this Bible. So it's going to be the same 66 books, the same verses, and so forth.
Is it the King James Version?
It's something like that, but it was printed here in America.
Okay.
And so that would be the first Bible that was actually in the printing press and printed here.
Mm-hmm.
So the words are the same, but it is the one that Congress looked at and said, yes, this is the one that we'll endorse. And they didn't, again, Congress didn't pay for it or anything like that, but it did go through Congress to say, this is what we'd like. And they recommended everybody have one.
Well, at that time, if we didn't have a printing press here and they wouldn't let any come from England, we were kind of in between the rock and hard place.
And it was one of the things, we were literally short of Bibles. So they're going to kind of go through that on September 30th. What happened? It'll be great history lessons as well as a lot of other things. I was down in Dallas at their area and at Wall Builders, walked through their museum. Literally, it said, this is the stuff that was on George Washington's desk. I said, what do you mean? And he said, this is the compass. And they would pick it up. And I was literally holding the same thing that George Washington was holding. And historical document after historical document. They had the originals there, and it was amazing to go through the history of what Tennessee or what United States went through.
Okay, and so all of this will be, you said September 30th?
David Barton's coming, September 30th, yes, is the goal that we're working on. And that'll be here at the Wilson County Fairgrounds, thanks to Ed Kelly and sponsors like him.
Yeah. Well, sure you're glad to do that, Ed.
Yeah, when I met Mark a couple of years ago, I pray to God a lot about making decisions, and I think I met Mark over at the fairgrounds. He had a tent, and they were wanting sponsors for the 9/11 event for 2021, and so I prayed to God about it, and I felt like it was what God would want me to do, and and so I'm happy to help where I can, and I'm glad that I've gotten to meet Mark and gotten to know Mark a lot better because, once you get past, being a senator or being the owner of a company, we're all people, and so it's good to get to meet genuine people. And
All right,
Mark's
we're
very
gonna
genuine.
Play your song. Tell us a little bit about this song.
Well,
Is
it's
this one you wrote?
I did write it. Yeah, it's called "Several Tears Left to Cry." It's about a fella that got his heart broken by a woman that he loved, and I guess let's just listen to it.
All right, MJ, play the song for us, please.
She looked into his eyes and said, I don't love you anymore. Then she gave him one last kiss before she turned around and walked out that door. She never gave him a reason when he never asked why. But the moment that the door slammed shut, he fell down on his knees and cried. He wakes up every morning alone in his bed. He makes a pot of coffee and he smokes a cigarette. He tries to move on and get her off his mind. But he has several tears left to cry. He tries to live his life the way it was before she said goodbye. He tries to keep a smile on his face, but the pain is just so hard to hide. So he leans on the whiskey to try to drown her memory. But when the morning sun comes up, that whiskey hasn't changed a thing. Oh, he wakes up every morning alone in his bed. He makes a pot of coffee and he smokes a cigarette. He tries to move on and get her off his mind. gone, and he hasn't moved on. But there will be a day that he does. She may see a day where she feels the pain. If a man walks out on her that she loves, life goes on. Life goes on. He wakes up every morning alone in his bed. He makes a pot of coffee and he smokes a cigarette. He tries to move on and get her off his mind. But he has several tears left to cry. He has several tears left to cry.
All right, there is Ed Kelly, the singing plumber, and many tears left.
Several tears left to cry.
Several tears left to cry.
So
That's a tearjerker.
I was actually in Dallas, back in Dallas, when I got when Sean Pody, who helps me produce these songs, sent it to me, and we decided to get a fiddle player and a steel guitar player for a couple of these songs. And I remember when I first heard this song on the radio in the car, and it just blew me away. It was just like I always knew that this was going to be a great song, but Sean and the fiddle, I can't remember the guy's name. I know he's played for some top big time singers around town, but I just want to thank Sean and the steel guitar player and the fiddle player. They did an excellent job helping me with this song.
And you did write this.
Yes.
Yes, this is your composition.
Yes.
All right. We've got about 4 minutes left. Senator, was anything else that Ed is wanting you to say this morning? He's doing some work for has done, and maybe he's still doing some more.
We had another issue with our plumbing, so I just called Ed, and he got it even arranged over the weekend, so we could be working on it over the weekend. He's always been very helpful to get whatever we needed done. And if your plumbing's backed up, you got a problem. So you got to have somebody that you can call.
Well, we haven't mentioned your phone number this morning. We can do that, 615-733-5665, 5665. 615-733-5665 for Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. And that's important too, finding where that leak is.
Yeah, we do a lot of leak detection around town and the slabs. There's a lot of the houses that were built in like 2007 to currently, and a lot of times there's PECs coming up through these slabs, and so we help people find those leaks and fix them and work with their insurance and stuff like that.
Maybe this is a little bit of your specialty, the leak detection in concrete like that.
Absolutely. That's what we specialize in. We do have a special we're running this for the next 30 days, Coleman, on water heaters. Basically, we're going to give each customer $50 off on their water heater on a new water heater installation, and we're going to be giving them a copy of my album, A Part of Me Died. So that's for the next 30 days.
Okay. Well, you want to talk about that album a little bit? A Part of Me Died.
Yeah, well, if you want to purchase the album, you can go to edkellymusic.com, and it's $14.99, and you put your email in there and pay for it, and then you'll be sent a downloadable copy of the album, and then you can always put it on a CD or put it on an MP3, your MP3 player or your phone, or a USB card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how many songs you get on that album?
There's 10.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the process now of recording another album for some gospel songs that I've written. And
Well, you've written most of these that are on this album?
Wrote all of them.
All of them?
Yes.
Okay. I know what you're doing in your spare time. You're writing songs. You've got to be. You don't write a song in 10 minutes, do you, usually?
Not usually, no.
The senator wanted to say something.
Yes, and I just want to make sure before we close out, the mark down September 30th, Wilson County Fairgrounds is the event that we're going to be coming, and it should be a great event for people that want to hear the difference between church and state and how that phrase came along and what that really means. And it should be a really, really good event down here Saturday, September 30th.
You need a ticket for that?
It's going to be actually free. We got sponsors that are picking up the cost and such, so it's going to be to come in, and
A few more people like Ed Kelly.
that's exactly right. So Ed's been very, very helpful with Christian events throughout the area. So I'm just grateful for all of his stance and what his beliefs are.
Okay, well, we're glad to hear your song this morning. And the album again is entitled what?
A Part of Me Died.
All right, and available
at edkellymusic.com.
All right, and if you need plumbing or leak detection, Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection is ready. Ed Kelly, 615-733-5665. We'll see you next time. Thank
See you, Coleman.
All right,
Nice.
that's it for a Monday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a magnificent day.